Okay, so today I'm here with
This is Jonathan Timothy Hillman.
Jonathan Timothy
Timothy
Hillman.
Hillman, that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah,
Um, Thank you for joining us today, Jonathan.
it's a pleasure to have me.
Sure. So, where did Jonathan grow up?
I actually grew up in a very small town called Escourt.
Okay.
It's in mid KZN actually. I grew up with both my parents, my mom and dad, and my younger brother
Okay.
basically. So I actually went to school that side. I matriculated that side too as well. So we are
Okay. In Escort.
in Escourt.
Okay. Thinking back to your early days in Escort, how was life in Escort?
Growing up as a kid, I grew up in a very, not really a rich family. My family was a very poor family, but my dad made sure that he made ends meet because he was a construction worker. And I was actually happy with whatever was offered, because the good thing that my parents taught me is that whatever, I must just be happy whatever we have in our house. Um, I come from a Christian. I came from a Christian background. My mother was very, very spiritual. So was my dad too as well. He was baptized, Roman Catholic. Um, you know, as growing up, basically, life actually get to learn a lot of things, and we all want to become something when we grow up. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I really enjoyed my childhood when I was still young because you know we had a lot of fun basically.
Sure.
When you were a kid, you're just in a hurry to grow up and you want to be this and that.
Sure.
And especially when you have both parents, you just feel like you just have everything for that moment.
Sure.
So
And in terms of your siblings, you are the youngest, oldest?
with my siblings, basically, I would say I am not the youngest. I'm the second born. There is my eldest brother, but we never grew up together with him. Unfortunately, he's from my mother, with different father from my mother. Well, he passed on at a very young age, basically. So it's actually three
Condolences.
of us. So it's myself and my younger brother, who is Rodney, who is actually up in the East Coast, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, we actually grew up together with me and my brother, actually.
Okay, and how was your relationship with your brother,
Yeah, my relationship with my
your younger brother that you grew up with? That is.
yeah, the relationship with my younger brother was cool. I mean, I protected him. We protected each other. Well, he was very, as a young one, you always, want to act childish, babyish, but I was just always there for him, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
And you guys went to the same schools?
we went to the same schools too as well, yeah, but besides, I actually had to leave from primary school just before I matriculated. I went to another school, but I would say 70% of our school days we went to the same school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that year when you had to, did you move or what was the
I
situation?
actually had to move out because I went to a place which was like a boarding school. It was a hostel basically,
Sure.
because I wanted to actually see if I could learn something different.
Okay.
I came from the township. I went to a multiracial school,
Okay.
but when I changed, I went to a rural school.
Okay.
So to me, that I just wanted to see if I could balance life and my education because I
Sure.
never had a chance to learn Zulu, especially.
Sure.
But
Sure.
now I
Sure.
can speak and read Zulu very, very well.
Okay. So essentially, what's your background in terms of ethnicity?
Of well,
In ethnicity, what is your background? Since you're saying you wanted to learn Zulu.
so, my background in terms of ethnicity, I would say we would speak English.
Mm.
I come from an English background, so
But you
basically
guys are black
we
in
we
the household, or you
we
colored,
we
or
we actually I would say that we colored,
okay,
but we spoke two languages,
okay,
both Zulu and English. My mother was Zulu, and my dad was colored.
okay,
Let me put it this way, basically. My mom I come from a very mixed race. My mom is half Zulu,
Okay.
and my dad is also a half Zulu too, half colored on both sides. But the only difference is that my mother grew up on her, by her mother's side, which is a Zulu side.
Okay.
So she grew up with that. But as growing up, I noticed that there's a lot of colored siblings and connections on my mother's side, and
Sure,
they're
like
always
cousins and stuff like
cousins
that.
and all that.
Yeah.
Same thing on my father's side, but on my father's side there was a lot of Afrikaans speaking people,
Okay.
and they never really looked colored like as my mother's side. They looked more black, like more coyish actually. But yeah, they enjoyed a lot of Afrikaans actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And but the whole family is from here, KZN.
The whole family, yeah. Well, most of the family is basically in Joburg.
Okay.
My mother's side. It's only my parents. They decided to be here and to be based in KZN because of work.
Okay.
And my mother used to work in a hotel, and my dad was a construction worker working for Nestle's. And my father's side is basically based in Cape Town, in Stellenbosch. We never actually met.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather came from Cape Town years ago, and it was a soldier. And when he escaped from the army and he decided to come to KZN, and then he got a job in a farm.
Sure.
And he worked as a tractor driver there, and then that's where he met my grandmother. And they started, raising a family. They making babies with my dad, and all that. So there was like seven children they had.
Okay.
And they got married in a farm. And from there, my dad grew up too as well with his siblings, my aunt, and all my uncles.
Sure.
In the farm, there's a little small place called Weenan.
Okay.
It's just close, not so far from where I grew up in Escote, though. So yeah.
It's interesting that you know your family history that way because a lot of people don't really, you know.
Yeah, well, my dad was very, very historical. So yeah, I had a very special connection with him, especially when we had some time off. I spent a lot of time with him, and he
Sure.
taught me a lot of stuff, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really worried about his own family too as well, and about
Sure.
us too, that when he dies, what's going to happen to us and all that stuff. And his dream was to one day to meet the main family that's in Stellenbosch in Cape Town.
Sure.
Unfortunately, that didn't actually happen because, God took him so quickly. But I'm also falling into the same shoes.
Sure.
Because I'd love to know my real family, especially my dad's side. The only family that I know is my mom's side, and it's so huge. And some of my siblings I don't even know.
Mm.
We only meet up only when it's funerals and stuff like that. And every time we meet, I meet new siblings. They say, "This is your cousin." I was like, "Oh, really?
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, this is your aunt. Oh, really? Oh, you so look like you." It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyway, it's fun though. It's fun, meeting the people that you've never seen before.
For sure.
You never know what's going to happen.
For sure.
Anyway, yeah. But
okay. So in terms of your high school life, how did you find high school?
high school was good, but I'm not going to lie to you. I never liked school in high school. Primary was okay, it was fine. But as soon as I got to high school, that's where I started, there's bullies and all that. And, you start growing up, feel like, hey, you start having some drinks, girlfriends, and all that stuff like that. The behavior automatically changes when you actually grow up and stuff like that. But so I started disliking school there. But it came back to my senses that, my family, especially my mom and dad, they never had a chance to go to school.
Mm-hmm.